How you doing? So today I'm gonna be chopping a pad sample that I got from Splice, and I want to show you how I do it because I think I found a very practical way, like step by step, how to get it done. Not just the chopping, but also the looping, because usually we want pads to have like very long tails and be sustained, but we want them to be sustained for as long as we want, you know, like this. You see there how it's like, it's looping, but it's in a note on mode. And the thing is, we have to loop the right part, and we have to set some things here and there to make it sound smooth. Not chopping, not clipping, no artifacts. Of course, it can be better than this, but this is gonna give you a good idea of how to do it. So let's get into it. Okay, so step one is selecting the sample. Find a sample that has a pad on it, and in this case, this is a sample I found on Splice.com. And the Splice is not just one chord. I can hear different chords, different tones. Check it out. So this is a sample with different chords and different tones, different phrases. What we want to do is to capture them all and be able to loop them so they don't feel like just chops. And we want to be able to control the tail. So the very first step is the chopping. We're gonna go, right now we're in trim mode, sample edit mode, to be able to, you know, read the entire sample. But now what we want is to chop it. So we click here on chop. Once we're in chop mode, for this particular sample, I recommend using manual mode. Why? Because I was checking with Threshold, and Threshold cannot really read the melodies and the chords. So we're gonna chop that manually. We're going back to manual mode. First, so we have chops now. The first thing I would do is adjusting the start of each chop. Be careful with the starting point. Try to make it start in an area where, you know, the wave seems to be at its lowest crest. Like here, for example. Number 7. Number 8. One thing I can tell you is that you don't have to be super precise with this part. Just try to make them sound good. If you hear any artifacts or something happening when you press the pad, don't worry, because the start point can be fixed with the envelopes later once we create a program. But get your chops, and that would be the very first step. This is where it gets interesting. Normally, we would create a program from this point and just start having fun, right? But we want to make sure these chops can be looped and sound nice when looped. So from this point, we have to go back to trim mode. Let's do it here. Go back to trim. And then we have to select the slice field and start moving through the slices. Be careful not selecting all. We're going to work on each of the slices. So we're starting with slice number 1. We're going to zoom a little bit. And then we're going to activate, we're going to deactivate link slices and loop lock. Deactivate them, because we want to be able to set the loop lock wherever we want. What this little thing does is setting a loop like this, right? This area will repeat constantly as a loop, but the path will start from the original starting point of the chop. So don't worry about this because we've done this already, you know. In each of the slices, the green, start point, that's done. And we can fix it later. But the important thing is to set this properly so we get a nice loop. One thing we also want to do is adjusting this, which is the loop indicator, right? And with this one, we're gonna tell the looping point to loop forward and backwards, or just backwards. My preferred mode here is forward, but try anything you want. You can try any different one. Just make sure it's active. And the next thing you want to make sure you're also activating is X fade. If this one is not active, X fade won't appear lit up. So make sure you have it ready like this. This is a perfect mode for this. Going forward. And X fade, select it and give it a value. What I always do is just to move it right only once. Move it right with your big knob. And yeah, whatever value comes there, leave it as it is. And next thing you want to do is press this pad. This pad is for just the loop. To loop infinitely, number of times. That's what we have to do. Find a perfect looping point, something that sounds good. And then press this pad to hear the loop. Remember, with this active, these two, X fade and the loop indicator. If you like the way the loop sounds, then you can move forward. Yeah, but that's the thing. Now we're gonna move to slice number 2. Select the slice, turn right, and now we have a new slice where we have to apply the same thing. You have to tell the slice where the looping point starts. I usually start where I see the wave to go to its lowest point. Hear the loop, because pay attention to it, because if you hear an artifacts and sounds, that's probably because you forgot to activate this and X fade. X fade is the most important thing for this step, because that's the one that gives us the fading and the smoothness. You can also go a bit harder with it. You could go, move it, increase the value. It's up to you. This is up to you and how you feel good with the looping, constant looping, and the fading in the loop. So, move to number 3. Do the same. Select the area that you want to loop. Press this pad. Activate the loop indicator and assign an X fade value till it sounds good. Boom, done. Then we move to the next slice. We select slice number 4, the loop indicator. Remember, these two have to be inactive: loop lock and link slices. Those ones will remain inactive once you set them this way. That applies to the entire sample. Activate, X fade. Done. Easy. We move to the next slice. Activate, X fade. Done. Next slice. I like using the touchscreen a lot. I know many OGs and users of previous MPCs don't really like it, but I think it's very good. It's very convenient. Like the same way we use our phones, well, this is pretty much the same. Nice. This step this editing of each of the slices has to be done this way now, because later, once you create the program, it's not possible. I tried to do it later, but I think there must be a bug or something happening, because the X fade values don't carry on. You cannot just edit the slices on programs that have been already created. It's very annoying, but it is what it is. So remember, if you want to make sure your pad sounds like this, and you set the loops right with X fade and everything, do it before you create the program. It's the only way I found it so far. Slice number 8. We're almost done. Yeah, that glitching, like that clipping thingy, like you don't want it. So we're getting rid of it with X fade. X fade, very great. We have different types of X fade here. The difference is minimal, depends on the content of the sample. Nice. So we almost done. These are the last 2 slices. Done. And the last one. Done. Okay, so now your program should look like mine. I mean, your sample. If you move through the slices, all of them have been edited with different looping points. Just pay attention to the looping indicator. Make sure you did everything exactly the way I told you per slice. It should look like this, right? And remember, this is not chop mode. Here it says trim. If you're in chop mode, you won't be able to see the looping points the same way, right? But this is the thing. We have to go back to chop mode. This is the next step. We go back to chop mode. Don't touch anything, because if you create more slices, everything could be destroyed. This is very important. You cannot create more slices. I wouldn't touch the slices at this point. Maybe the starting points, maybe, but you should be done now, because the thing you want to do is press Shift, convert, and then you're gonna create a pad parameters new drum program using those slices. Don't bother creating events, like you don't need them now. So we go for do it, and then we're gonna find the program. This is the program. So once you create the program, we're gonna go program edit. And the first thing you want to do, this is very important, select all the pads here. This section where you see the pad you're actually playing, click on it, select all of them, and then move to the master section of program edit, because what you want to do is to make sure all of them are node on in this menu, node on. That's going to be applied to all the pads. And then you're going to go back to envelopes and make sure the amplitude release is a little bit, it's somewhere, don't leave it 0. Why? If you press your pads now, they're looping, right? That's what we wanted. But that dry fill, it's up to you. I don't really like the release to be so abrupt and fake, so I give it a little bit of tail, and I do that with release. Just move the release to around 70, 80. You're gonna notice a little tail. It's a fade, and it's good. I really like it. And there you have it. Now the only thing you have to do is play with your program, add effects, have fun. But if you go to sample edit program, you'll find everything, all the work you did there in each of the pads, and now it cannot be, deleted. It's there permanently. So now you can have fun, do whatever you want. You could even go program edit, master, make the program poly, and play crazy combinations of this pad. And there you go. So there you go. That was the way I create pad programs with note on, long tails, and it's gonna give us room to play with the pads even more than just having a sample that goes from start to finish exactly the same way. Sometimes you don't even want to be pressing it, constantly to get the pad to sound longer. Like, it's not necessary. If you do this, you're gonna get long pads, big, and you can even combine them in this case to create new sounds, bigger, stronger, better. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.